This is a place called Al Ramaya Barracks in northwestern Iraq. These are ammunition storage bunkers. They aren't real significant, except there's a guy I want to tell you about who had something to do with the holes in them. His name is Ed. He's off of Class 86. Ed left for the desert with his wife Jill, pregnant with her first child. This is a story repeated throughout Desert Storm and all the services and throughout history of the military. Obviously, he couldn't go home for the birth. About 2 in the morning one night, I got woken up in my hooch by my exec who said, you got to call at the command post, which was about 10 minutes away. So I get dressed and go sprinting to the command post, and it's my wife. And she says, Mark, I'm at Humana Hospital in Ogden, Utah, and Jill Rinke is in labor, and she's having problems. Is there any way we can get Ed on the phone with her? So we went and rousted Ed, brought him down to the command center, and my wife had worked out some arrangement with the hospital where Ed walked in, sat down, I handed him a phone, and he's talking to Jill, who's in the middle of a really bad labor. And as he held the phone with one hand and talked to his wife, I sat in front of him on a chair, and I held his other hand for about 2.5 hours, which is something neither of us have ever admitted publicly before. And I could see the happiness in his eyes every time she talked back to him and said anything. And I could see the worry and the pain in his eyes every time another contraction started and he heard her flinch or gasp or scream. And I felt him squeeze my hands every time he could tell she was really in pain. And I saw him smile when he heard his son Nate cry for the first time from 9,000 miles away. Next slide, Fred. This is Ed when he came home and met his 6-month-old son, Nate. I'll never forget Nate. "12 hours after Ed hung up that phone, he was the cell leader for a 12 ship of F-16s that hit those bunkers at Aramaya Barracks. It was the best battle damage assessment we had in our squadron during the war. They hit every target, and a lot of them, as you saw from that photo, dang near dead center. Ed went from caring, concerned, loving father and husband to cold-blooded, calculated killing machine in 12 hours. Only in combat, folks. I'll never forget watching the transformation.